Yo, welcome back to my channel. If y'all don't know, this channel called Ant Live. I react to things daily. I missed 2 days, Sundays. It kind of be off day, but Monday, yesterday I was kind of busy. But today we got a video, 5 animals that have only ever been seen once in this world. Yeah, once. So make sure you like, comment, and if you're new, subscribe. Let's go right into the video.
Discovered a species for the very first time.
Do a better audio, but you might be able to hear my PC because I still don't have a mic. But I'm not gonna use this mic because somebody said the audio was a little iffy. So I'm gonna, but let's go.
And then it just vanished forever.
First of all, what is that?
Never to be seen again. Creatures so rare, the only proof they existed is a single specimen. From single sightings in remote jungles to 16.
What is y'all favorite animal in the world? Like, I think mine's not including dogs and cats, like not including household animals. But I think my favorite animal would probably be like a kangaroo or an elephant.
Foot whales. Today, we're diving into 5 more animals that have only been seen once, starting with the spade-toothed whale. A full-sized whale, something that grows to around 16 or 17 feet long, and no one has ever seen.
So no one has ever seen this whale, and they get to 16 or 17 feet long. So let's put 16 to 17 feet into perspective. Like, how big is that? Is that like a school bus or a little
one alive? Everything we know about this animal comes from individuals that have washed up dead on beaches. And get this, there have only been about 7 confirmed specimens ever found to date. And these specimens have mostly been turning up around New Zealand and one all the way over in Chile.
That's very beautiful. Like, this image right here is so, like, calming, if that makes sense. Like, it's just so calming and beautiful. Like, I always say, like, God created the, like, God is the biggest artist of the world. Look at this, like, look at the mountains in the back, and then look at this, just this. Like,
the first record goes all the way back to 1872, when someone found a lower jaw on a remote island. And even then, scientists didn't realize what they had, since they thought it belonged to a completely different species of whale. Then, over the course of a few years, more and more bones started washing up on the beaches around New Zealand, and it wasn't until scientists actually ran DNA tests that they realized all of these remains belonged to the same species, a whale.
Wow. But like, look, think about this. Like, if people seen this, I would have just casually think this is a dolphin, because it don't look as big as a whale would look, and it kind of looks like a dolphin. It has a kind of like a dolphin body. So maybe people have seen this and they just thought it was a dolphin. That's what I would think about seeing this. It was a dolphin
that no one had ever seen in the flesh. And then in 2010, something crazy happened. When a mother and calf washed up dead on a beach in New Zealand. Wow, it was only then when DNA testing came back and confirmed those were spade-toothed whales. Scientists literally had the animal and didn't even know what it was. Now, in terms of what the cetacean actually looks like, it's got that classic beaked whale shape that's built for deep diving. But the weirdest part are the teeth. The males have these huge spade-shaped teeth that stick out from the lower jaw, hence its namesake. And they can get
getting bit by one of these, and the tooth is about like the size of a candle. You can say the tooth is about, that's a crazy comparison, but like a regular sized candle
to around 9 inches long. Scientists believe that these whales use these teeth for fighting other males down in the depths, which is just crazy to think about. And speaking of deep, that's probably the reason we've never seen one alive. Beaked whales are some of the best divers on the planet. They can stay underwater for hours and dive to depths of nearly 10,000 feet, which is almost like 2 miles down in complete pitch black darkness. So if the species spends most of its life down there, well, then it makes perfect sense why we've never seen one alive.
But how do we know this? Like, how do we know these species can dive this deep? 10,000 feet, he said, 2 miles. How do we know this if we've never seen one or we've never followed one? You know, how do we know how long this animal could hold its breath for because we've never seen one? I don't know. That's just questions I have. Like, how do they be knowing all this stuff about this animal? Like they be knowing stuff like they is the animal.
The most recent specimen, found just 2 years ago, was the first time scientists could properly study a fresh, intact specimen. And even then, they were still figuring things out. When they dissected it, the scientists found things like...
So they killed it?
9 separate stomachs with squid beaks inside.
So let's get this right. This is an animal we've never seen. It was the first live specimen that they found, and they just decided to kill it.
which all pointed to the whale being a deep-sea hunter. But still, they were still left with no real answers about how this whale actually lives. And that's what makes this so crazy. We're not talking about some tiny fish or insect. This is a massive whale, and we still know almost nothing about it. So, with so little sightings, the question is it still out there? Well, 100%, since they are such cryptic deep water animals living so deep, and the fact
I got a better comparison for this size. If you stack Victor Wembanyama up twice, this animal will still be taller than him. I just thought about that.
They're quite intelligent animals. I'm fairly certain that somewhere in the deep South Pacific, there's probably a whole population of these things just living their lives completely unnoticed. And until the day we finally see one alive, the spade-toothed whale remains a whale we've only ever seen after it was already dead. Next up, a shark that looks
I thought they said they had a live specimen and they just decided to, I don't know,
more like a stingray and might be one of the rarest sharks on Earth. Meet the Philippines angel shark. Well, angel sharks are already some of the most alien sharks in the world. They've got these flattened, pancake-like bodies with massive wing-like pectoral fins that make them look more like rays than sharks. They hunt by sitting still rather than endlessly.
See, then again, these animals are animals that if normal people seen, they don't know what this is. So I would just say this is the stingray rather than a shark.
Moving and suction prey into their
Y'all let me
huge
know if y'all
mouth
ever
with
seen these animals.
razor-sharp teeth.
If you seen this in the water, what would you do? Them teeth and whatever this is part just like an alien. I don't know.
It's this sitting and hiding in the sand that makes this rare ambush predator so hard to find. I can tell you from experience of having dove with them in Japan and in California. Witnessing their behavior,
I mean, it ain't rare if he's seen it.
I'll tell you, they are so fascinating. They're super chill, perfectly camouflaged, and then suddenly
if you go right to Japan and just go swim with them, they're not rare or only been seen once. I was seeing comments of this video and it was like, the people was tired of all these content creators putting clickbait titles.
lightning fast when they strike. Ask me how I know, because our friend Andy Murch actually got bitten by a clouded angel shark when we were there. But while these species may be relatively abundant, the Philippines angel shark is only known from a single specimen, and this was a small immature female measuring just over a foot long. It had this greenish brown body covered in darker spots, outlined in pale edges, with subtle black markings near its dorsal fins. For an angel shark, this is pretty standard camouflage that's designed to help it completely disappear on the sea floor. This lone individual was discovered in 1995 on the 23rd of September during a deep
this one's only been seen once.
trawl off the coast of Luzon in the Philippines at depths of over 1,200 feet. That's way down on the outer continental shelf in a dark, cold environment that we barely ever explore. At first glance, scientists actually thought it was just another similar-looking species, the Taiwan angel shark. But years later, after taking a closer look at its features, such as the spacing of its spiracles, the shape of its fins, and a few subtle differences, they realized it was a completely new species of angel shark, officially described for the first time in 2011.
To think about it, it's so much of the ocean that is not explored. It might be double or triple the amount of aquatic species compared to the on land species.
But sadly, since then, it's been very, very quiet. There hasn't been a second specimen found, and no one has ever seen it. But does the fact that it hasn't been seen for so long mean it's extinct? Not really. Notoriously, deep-sea species like this are very hard to study. And to make things worse, Philippines angel sharks live in the ocean thousands of feet down, where very few surveys actually take place. And angel sharks by nature are masters of camouflage, and like we said before, they literally bury themselves in the sea floor, leaving just their eyes exposed. So even if they are down there, we could be easily missing them, but at the same time, deep-sea trawling and longlining is a real concern, since these sharks live right in the zones where fishing nets drag across the sea floor, and if a population was already small to begin with, it wouldn't take much to wipe it out before we...
Yeah, these people probably just wiped the whole population of this shark out just about doing this.
even realized it was there.
But then again,
If
you
we're ever
would just
going to
think
find
that's
the
a
shark
stingray,
again,
so
it
you
would
just
probably be through deep sea surveys using ROVs or BRUVs, or even another accidental troll catch. But until then, the Philippines angel shark remains one of the most mysterious creatures ever caught. A shark seen once and never again.
Okay.
Next up,
So that's you could say that's 1 out of 2 that you may have not ever seen, because the other thing you might have just think that was a dolphin. But you could just think this one's a stingray. I don't know. What y'all say? Y'all say 2 for 2, 1 for 2, or 0 for 2? That things you have never seen in your life, or never may have seen, or anybody never have seen.
Highly venomous snake that was discovered completely by accident and has only ever been seen once. This is one of the rarest pit vipers on the planet, hidden deep in the forests of northeast India. Meet the Arunachal pit viper. Now, at first glance, this snake might not
like a Charmander.
Look like anything too crazy, since if you look at its top, it's got this brownish, dull coloration that blends perfectly into leaf litter on the forest floor. But along its sides and belly, it's got some glossy, striking reddish-orange color. It's such a weird contrast, and if you ask me, being a herpetologist, it's a pretty sick-looking snake. It gets up to around 26 inches long, and like most pit vipers, this species is also highly venomous, having a potent hemotoxic venom that causes severe pain, bleeding, and tissue damage.
Have anybody ever been, have any of y'all ever been bit by a snake? If you've been bit by a snake, how was that process, and how long did your healing take? Like, did it take months? Don't mind my PC. I gotta clean it, because that's what I like to turn off, but did your healing process take months? Did it take years? Did you have to get amputated? Did it burn? Did it sting? Did it hurt? Like the very first second, did it hurt?
The story of its discovery is just as fascinating. Back in the early 2000s, during a biodiversity survey in Arunachal Pradesh, a researcher named Rohan Pandit and a local guide from the Bungan tribe were hiking through a steep forest near a village when all of a sudden they spotted this brown snake sitting in the leaf litter. At first, they thought it was just another viper, but when they looked at it properly, it didn't quite match anything they'd ever seen before. So, like any sane biologist would, they collected it, brought it back, and took a proper look. And that's when they realized that it was something truly different. After detailed analysis, measuring its scales, studying its anatomy, and even running genetic tests, lo and behold, the scientists confirmed that this was an entirely new species of pit viper. And here's the craziest part. This was the first new pit viper species discovered from India in over 70 years. That's just insane.
Are y'all scared of snakes? Like, what is this thing doing? Are y'all scared of snakes? Because a lot of people are scared of snakes. Or are you like, what's the word? Like, would you go pick up a garden snake if you seen it? Like, you know, or would you run and scream in the house? And you know, a lot of like older women, like moms and grandmas, they're very, very afraid of snakes. But like, I feel like a lot of the younger generation, they ain't really scared of snakes no more. Like, you know, they'll go pick it up. I always see the kids on TikTok, they just be like, it'd be accident, but they be just waving the snakes around, or like accident, like they'll just pick up a snake and I'm like, put it down, put it down, put it down.
But since that one sighting, which is almost 10 years ago now, it still remains the only one scientists have ever found. We don't know how many of these snakes exist, we don't fully understand its behavior, and we don't even know if they're ground dwelling. But I guess you could say that the good news is that the forest where it was found is still relatively intact. It's incredibly steep, hard to access, and only lightly disturbed by humans.
This rock is so beautiful, bro. Like, I just want to visit every continent in the world. Like, I hope one day I just get to the level to be able to do anything and everything and that I want to do. Like, you know, like I would love to see God's creation, bro. Like, everything is just so beautiful. Like the mountains and the trees and fresh air. I know it's just different. Like, I don't know.
Which means there's a very real chance that more of these snakes are out there, but just that no one is crazy enough to go there and look for one. And honestly, that's probably the reason we haven't seen it again. Pit vipers are masters of staying hidden. And that's exactly like the copperheads, cottonmouths, and rattlesnakes that we have in the US. You could literally walk past one and never even realize it was there. If we're ever going to find the species again, it'll come down to more surveys in these remote forests, slowly flipping leaf litter, scanning the ground, maybe even working with local communities who know.
How do you get jobs like that though? Like, how do you get jobs like the biomarine jobs and the jobs where you go look out for animals and study them? That's just a scientist. Like, but how do you be a scientist? How long do you have to go to school to be a scientist? Like, I always wonder how some people get some of these jobs.
Land better than anyone, but until then, the Arunachal pit viper remains one of the most mysterious snakes in the entire world.
Like
seen once and then gone. Next up, a tiny, bizarre-looking seahorse that no one has ever seen alive in the wild. and might be one of the strangest seahorses that's ever been discovered, somewhere off the deep coast of Australia. Meet the bullneck seahorse. Already pretty weird looking, but this one takes it to another level.
Yeah. Have y'all ever owned any seahorses? Or did y'all, like, when you was in elementary school, did y'all have seahorses? Like, at my elementary school, if I remember correctly, we had seahorses that just died very, very fast. I don't know why. I don't even know if it was legal. It was having for real, but we had seahorses. Like, we had little ones. We had 2 and they had babies. They all died very, very fast. I don't know. Maybe because of captivity or something like that. I don't know. But did y'all ever had a seahorse? Are those even legal to keep?
Grown, they're only about 2 inches long, but what makes this one stand out is its shape. It's got this unusually wide, thick neck, a short, stubby face, and a body that looks quite off compared to other seahorses. In fact, scientists even named it Minotaur because of that oversized head compared to its tiny body. It's believed to have a yellow-orange coloration, which scientists think helped it to blend into deep sea coral or sand.
If I was swimming down here, if I was swimming down there, I would not be able to see.
Yellow-orange coloration, which scientists think
I would not be able to see a seahorse at all. You barely can see this fish here. Like, is there any other fishes here that probably blended in? It's probably hella.
Help it to blend into sea coral or sandy seabeds. And like other seahorses, it likely uses its tail to wrap around things like corals or seaweed, anchoring itself in place as currents pass by. But here's the thing, that's all just educated guesses, because no one has ever actually seen one in its natural habitat. The only known specimens were collected off the coast of Eden, New South Wales, Australia, by deep-sea trawling nets. They were officially described in 1997, and since those few individuals were brought up, nothing. Now, the running theory among scientists is that this seahorse lives over 3,200 feet deep, and maybe even deeper. That's well beyond where most divers go, and when you combine that with the fact that this thing is absolutely tiny, it's easy to see how it...
What is the diving limit that, like, no humans can go past? 'Cause I don't know. I kind of want to explore the water, but I don't know, bro. I'm kind of scared of the water because I'm not scared, but like, it's too much things down there that nobody in this world have ever seen. Like, imagine if you got bit by something, but you got bit by an animal down there, and it was venomous, but nobody has ever seen this animal. There's not gonna be no antidote. You're just gonna be in pain, and maybe even, you know, KO. But that's why I'd rather explore that land first.
Could just completely slip under the radar. However, scientists fear that deep-sea trawling has heavily impacted parts of the ocean floor in that region. And if this species depends on specific habitat, like coral beds or untouched seabeds, then those areas could have easily been damaged before we even knew the seahorse existed. What's really interesting, though, is that local fishing...
Wait. If nobody had ever seen this seahorse in a while, I just thought about it. If nobody had ever seen a seahorse, how do we know this shit exists? He said nobody, he said nobody ain't never seen it, right? So how do we know this exists?
Communities in Australia actually remember this animal. Some fishermen claim they saw it decades ago, describing that same thick neck and short snout. And that's kind of crazy because there's...
So if some people say they seen it, then why he saying nobody ain't seen it? Because then it just raises more questions. And then before watching the video, I pause the video and have all these questions. And then he answered my...
Barely anything about the species in scientific literature, yet people still recognize it. So how would we even find it again? Well, it's not going to be easy. You'd need to use things like ROVs, BRUVs, maybe even eDNA testing. But the hopeful part is that other deep-sea species and even seahorse relatives have had similar stories. The ruby sea dragon, for example, went unseen for years until scientists actually went looking for it properly, and then suddenly they found it. So maybe, just maybe, the bullneck seahorse is still out there. Until then, this little tiny seahorse remains as a species that's only ever been pulled up by trawlers, but never seen in the wild. Guys, you know that I love rare and extinct animals. That's why I do videos like this, but I also love just generally having adventures. And now that I'm a dad with 2 young boys, I like sharing those adventures with my family. Now, I don't want to plaster my kids all over the internet, which is why I've started an amazing Patreon where some of the most incredible adventures that my family and I go on together are available. Check out the Patreon. It is wholesome, family viewing, very educational, highly...
See, he's talking about his Patreon, but I just seen him in that water. I'm so scared to go in like river water, or just because of all the the parasites and stuff. Like, I just be so scared, and I don't really know too much about water like that, or what type of parasites live in, or flesh eater. I don't know, bro. But I just be scared to jump in the lake, river, pond, or whatever.
about family life on the road. I take my family to Africa, to Central America, to South America, to Asia, all kinds of incredible places on amazing adventures and expeditions that never make it here on YouTube. So go and check out the Patreon right now. Let's talk.
No way they caught something on his little
amazing adventures and expeditions.
Bro, I accidentally paused. I need an OBS bad because every time I click out of the video, the recording stops. But
right now, let's talk about our next super rare animal. Now, this next animal might be one of the most...
I'm not skipping over that.
To Asia, all kinds of incredible places on amazing adventures and expeditions that never make it here on...
No way they got a fish on this little fishing rod. Because of my luck, their fish rod would have snapped. A bass snapping this one. For me, man.
Meet Zug's monitor. This is a species of monitor lizard that's found on the island of Halmahera in Indonesia, in a place that's already been known for hiding some...
Can humans go here? Can humans go up here? Bro, like, it's just like, bro, I would pay for the experience. That's it, like, I'm lost for it.
Curiously weird and unique reptiles. And like most monitor lizards, you'd probably be expecting this species to be quite active and maybe even seen by locals from time to time. But this one is different. Zug's monitor is only known from a single specimen, which was a juvenile that was found all the way back in 1980. And get this specimen wasn't even recognized or identified for that fact. It actually sat in a museum for many, many years until scientists later realized that this wasn't anything they'd ever seen before. And when you look at it, it's actually pretty cool looking. The only known individual measured 14.2 inches long. But since that one specimen was collected over 40 years ago, there's been basically nothing. No confirmed sightings in the wild, no photos, and scientists still don't know what it eats, how it lives, or even where exactly it spends most of its time. But the most interesting thing is that there has been a couple of reports coming in from locals claiming that they've seen something similar in different parts of the island. But these reports have never been verified. And that's actually crazy when you think about it. This is a monitor lizard, an active lizard on an island where they've potentially been collected not just for science, but for the pet trade. And for them to completely disappear like this, it's honestly kind of hard to even wrap your head around. But then again, the island of Halmahera is covered in dense tropical rainforest.
It's so beautiful, like with the water. I know this water right here is so clear. Bro, I just need to get rich, bro. Because that's the only way I'm going to be able to do these things. I'm going to keep grinding for y'all, bro, and producing these videos. I hope y'all subscribe. But look at this. Like, I know this water's so clear. I just want to stand right there, right here on the beach, or right here, and throw my fishing rod right there. See if I can just catch something. And then go to the top of this mountain and just look and be like, oh wow, this is so beautiful. I just create all this. You know what I'm saying?
That's full of steep terrain, remote valleys, and areas that are still barely explored. And that's what makes this one so interesting. Because unlike the animal...
I don't want to go camping. I don't want to go hunting. I got a vlog channel, bro. I ain't even gonna get...
As we've talked about before, this isn't a place that's been heavily developed or completely overrun by humans. So all the usual reasons we see animals disappear don't really apply here. And because of that, it actually makes it a lot harder to believe that this animal just simply went extinct. But over the years, scientists have actually discovered multiple new monitor lizard species in this region alone. So the idea that something like this could still be hiding out there is still not that far-fetched. If we're ever going to find Zug's monitor again, which I think is very realistic, it would take proper field surveys where you're working with local communities and tribes, not just setting up trail cameras, but trekking and expeditioning through the jungle to look for signs of this monitor before potentially catching one at night or noosing it. But until that day comes where the expedition goes out, Zug's monitor remains one of the strangest reptile mysteries out there, only seen once and never again. Hey, I hope you guys want to watch more than this video once and never again, so if you do, please subscribe to the channel because it helps us keep making these very informative and educational videos, and I'll see you on the next one.
Look, y'all, I really enjoyed this video. I hope y'all did too. I'm gonna leave the link down to the video just in case y'all want to watch it without me pausing. But like I said, bro, this stuff is just so beautiful. And if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Leave a like, comment something nice, and comment your favorite animal in the world. Comment, have you ever seen one of these animals before? And did he go 0 for 5 or 5 for 5? Because I mean, some of these animals, I feel like the one, the whale, and the second one, I feel like the one that like a stingray, the shark that like a stingray. If people probably have seen those, they just would say it's a dolphin or a stingray rather than a whale and a shark. But until next time.